Hi, it's craftytinas, and today I want to talk about the two cinches. There are multiple cinches out on the market now. This is the original with the round holes. It punches and wire binds with round holes. There is also one that looks similar to this, a different color, that punches square holes. This is the original ones. This is Thermal Cinch. It does not punch holes or bind wires. It uses a glue strip to make a notebook, where this one uses holes and wire binding to make a notebook. They're very similar but very different. They both make a notebook. They're both very practical and functional. This was my first purchase, and I wanted the wires, I wanted the nice notebooks, I wanted the thick bindings to make really pretty notebooks, put little folders inside, little pockets, put whatever pages I want to print, and do embossed backing. You can do similar things with both machines. You can use embossed cardstock if you want. You can use any kind of paper you want. You could add folders to the center if you want. Those are the two similarities, but that's where it ends. The actual process of making a notebook is different for both machines. This machine punches the holes here. It binds the wires in the back. This machine's limits are 1 1/4 thick, but it goes all the way down to 3/8 of an inch thick. So that means how thick your book can be. You can buy wire on Amazon. This is a double loop 2-to-1 pitch, which means there are 2 holes in every inch. 2-to-1 pitch is mandatory for this machine. You cannot use any other pitch. However, you can use a wide array of sizes, and that means how thick your tablet can be. These are the 4 sizes of wire bindings that I have. I made this little cheat sheet and template so that I would know when I'm making my notebook what size wires I needed to use. This is another video. I show you how to make this just using your chipboard scraps and a scrap of each of the wires that you own. This, I don't know what the thickness limits are. I do know that my favorite is the 1/4 inch, and that is the size glue strips that We Are Memory Keepers sells. You can get glue strips on Amazon. You do not need the We Are Memory Keepers. If you've seen my other videos, love their product, hate their supplies. A pack of 50 of these are hard to find and expensive. For half the price, you can get a pack of 50 or 100 and get these off of Amazon. They both work. I have tested both of them. This is actually one from Amazon. This book is made using glue to hold them. It has a binding piece of cardstock here. So you would have a cover and you would have a binding. It is not necessary to have this binding, even though all the videos from the manufacturer shows you the binding, and it's because they sell these bindings. They're not pretty colors, and they're not going to coordinate with your paper. You can make the bindings yourself. You do not need to buy them. So that is the 2 types of books that these machines make. I was not going to buy the Thermal Cinch. I didn't need it. I had the Cinch. I had my way of making notebooks and calendars and planners and all the various things that I wanted to make. However, I got up one morning and found this machine was on sale for 1/3 of the price, and it really swayed me over to wanting to at least give it a try. These are more like throwaway scratch pads done with kind of notebooks, and these are more like the really pretty fancy keepsakes. So there's very differences in these 2 books. However, after ordering this, I got to thinking, well, now I'm going to need to make some stuff. So one of the things I made when it first came in was I wanted to make matching notebooks. So here I have a planner, and now I have a matching scratch pad notebook to match. It makes a great set, great gift, very pretty. I really like that they played together to make one finished item. Even though these don't necessarily go together, I don't have to have this machine to use this one or vice versa. they do make nice corresponding items. Now, I don't have it in front of me, but another thing I did was I made a magnet using my We Are Memory Keepers button press to also match the set. So you can take all of your tools and your play toys in your craft room and put them together to play together, which is one of my favorite things to do. Another practical thing that I made was I made myself a journal for work, and I can't really show you the journal because it's got so much stuff written in it, but it's more of a to-do list. I have logs. I'm using this book a lot more than I thought I would. The only downside is this is not a planner or a calendar, so when I needed to know the date or something specific, I didn't have it. So I added a pocket to the inside cover, and using the Thermal Cinch made me a small calendar using cardstock pages printed and cut. I think this is a 3x4. I made my binding cover the back and come around to the front. This allows me to add my calendar to my logbook. And now, no matter what I'm doing, I can find a specific date and know, was this a Monday, was this a Friday, how long ago was this, the whole bit. So this is not a calendar like mark days off on. This is me wanting to know what the date is and what day of the week it is, or how far back it was, or how much forward it is. This has really come in handy. I love it. This was an afterthought, but was easily added, and I wouldn't have been able to do this had I not bought the thermal. This would not have worked well having a wire binding for the top of this, because when you close it, it's not going to fold correctly. Because I made this book a little larger than it needed to be on purpose, this fits nicely. But that also got me thinking, what else can I make with these two machines to go together, but not really have to have one or the other machine? So the next thing I made was this cute little stand. I made it using chipboard and glitter vinyl, and this is the glitter vinyl that looks like glitter but doesn't feel like glitter. I simply made this with vinyl, put it together. The chipboard are pieces and left a little space. This will be on another video on how to make this. So this is a cute little stand with scrap paper. But if you flip it around, I've added eyelets with a piece of elastic so that I can put a calendar on my stand to make a desk calendar. So you could have done this also with photos or little inspirational sayings so that it can motivate you and you can tear them off as you need to. But on the back side it has scrap paper, so if I'm sitting at my desk and I can't find my post-it notes, I can just quickly grab me something to write and then tear it off. Because this book is cinched on the outside, so the seam is not inside this book, it's on the outside, and it wasn't cinched so tight, I can tear these off as I need them and always add more by just simply adding a page or two at a time to this. So there's a lot of things you can do that aren't really advertised for either. The manufacturer does really quick videos. They show you how to make something really fast. They don't explain what it is, but they also don't show you the potential. I mean, this is a piece of elastic inside of two eyelets, a scrap of wire binding, some scrap paper, adhesive, and some chipboard. So those are the possibilities of adding things together using the two machines. They are very different in their end results, but they're also very different in the supplies you need to make a book. I'm not going to show you how to make a book on either because I have other videos going into more in depth because you need more explanation than this video is going to show. But I just wanted to show you the supplies so you have an idea if you are considering either one of these. Keep in mind, the regular cinch punches holes, round or square. The teal color is the round holes. I think it's pink is the square holes. You buy the same binding for both holes, so that does not mean anything. It's just preference on how you want it to look. To make this book, you need double loop wire in a 2-to-1 pitch, meaning there's 2 holes per inch. For this book, I'm using 9/16 wire. I used 44 blank pages. Cut one piece of paper in half and then half again, and I have a quarter page, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This is my favorite size to make. Not only am I not wasting paper by cutting the paper into 4 pages, it's a really good size to put in a purse, a bag, a desk, or leave sitting somewhere. This book I made bigger. This book is actually a half page. I did that on purpose so that I could fold the page, not cut it. My page is doubled instead of printing on both sides, just for the simple fact that I wanted to be able to write without fear of it bleeding through, and I wanted to be able to use standard copier paper, not anything fancy, because I'm going to go through this book relatively quick. And once I do go through this and everything in this book is complete, then this is going to be tossed. If my covers are still good, I'm simply going to take the wire off, take all the pages out, replace it with new, and rebind it. And then all I'm losing is the wires. So 44 pages, to me, is the perfect amount for a 9/16 wire. You also need 2 pieces of chipboard, the size of your book. We will get into making your covers a slightly smaller than your pages in other videos. And then you simply need paper or cardstock. Both work well. Two pages of each and 2 chipboards, because this is the cover and this is the back. You are simply gluing chipboard onto the page with a 1/2 inch all the way around. So you want to cut your paper 1 inch bigger than your chipboard. Center it, glue it down, clip the corners, and fold the pages in. Once the pages are folded in, you glue this one to the center, and it leaves a slight border. The amount of space is entirely up to you. Once this is folded over, it comes to about right here, so this is covering. It does a great job. As you can see, it wraps around the chipboard. You clip the edge corner so that you have a nice mitered touch. I made the mistake of punching this hole in the middle of the edge because I wasn't paying attention to pull my pin, and I simply covered it up with some washi tape. So even accidents can be happy little accidents and look really good. Once you have your 2 covers and all your pages, you're going to use this machine to punch your holes. Then you're going to use it to put all of your paper and your covers on here, and then you're going to bind it. Those are, in general, the steps for using the cinch. That is how much work or effort, I guess you could say, it takes to make this notebook in this machine. It will take you longer to figure out what you want to make and what color you want your cover. It will take longer to do those steps than it is to do the steps to do the cinch. I do have a video on how to use this cinch. Go check it out if you're considering this, just to get an idea to make sure this is something that you want. Now let's talk about the thermal cinch. This one is easier and quicker to use than this one. There's no hole punching, there's no lining up the holes. Not that it's difficult, it just takes a little bit more time. This one is simply a very easy, simple process. When I opened this box, I was freaking out over how cheap and plastic this was, because I'm like, this is not worth the full price. I'm so glad I didn't pay full price. The results is great. And when I started looking at other thermal book bindings, it's the same thing, and they don't even bother like making the sides tall. They just have this little bitty base thing, and it's a whole nother story. Inside is a metal plate that heats up. It melts your glue strip inside your book to hold your pages. This is the way books are bound together. I'm sure there's more complicated explanations when you're binding a book. But in it really isn't a complicated procedure. To make this, you will need glue strip. Get this on Amazon. You can get it in the craft stores if you can find it. We Are Memory Keepers does make a pack of 12 and a pack of 30. They're pretty scarce in my area, and Amazon doesn't even have them available. But Amazon does have the no-name brands. I got really lucky and found on Marketplace someone selling several packs of 50 of the We Are Memory Keeper strips for $20. I rushed to pick up that purchase. Now I have more glue strips than I know what to do with. It's not a bad thing. You will need a cover and a back, just like in this one. This book does not require or need chipboard. It's a notebook, like a paperback. I would prefer having one with a firm back, so when I'm writing, it's got something to support it. So I'm taking 44 pages, again, just a quarter page, one piece of chipboard that I'm going to put in the back, my cover for the front, and my cover for the back. That is it. That's all I need. I don't need to punch holes. I don't need to line anything up. The only thing you do need to watch for is if your paper is one directional, meaning it can't be upside down. This has hearts on it, so it has to be this way. If it just had the diamonds and didn't have the hearts, it wouldn't matter. So if it has hearts, you're going to want to make sure that you have it upright. Now, We Are Memory Keepers makes the bindings. I'm not a fan of them because I want to make sure mine match. And to tell you the truth, their prints aren't really pretty. So how do I make the binding? It could be any size you want, depending on how big your notebook is how far you want this to go in. This is not holding your book together. This is purely to hold the glue strip to melt it and to look nice. You don't need this. If you want, you can have a piece of paper that's the size of your notebook times 2, add a 1/4 inch for the glue strip area, and have one piece of paper for this binding. You do not need to have a front and a back and a binding. In order to have a binding, and I have this on another video showing you how, but let me show you because it is so super quick. Whatever size you want, try to make it an even measurement. This one is 2.5, and so far this has been my favorite for the 1/4 page book. This is 2.5. So I want to find the center, which is 1 1/4. I do not want to score. I want to score the score to the right of it. I want to go back to my 1.5, and I want to score to the left of it. This gives me a score that is exactly a 1/4 inch in the dead center. That's important because you want the same amount of paper on the outside cover as the inside. You want this scored here, 1/4 inch, another score, and your back. So now I have, and this is paper, not cardstock, probably not the best choice. I was going to laminate this later, but I decided not to. Now I have exactly what We Are Memory Keepers is selling with the glue strip inside. Now the We Are Memory Keepers glue strips do come with a self-adhesive side, so you can pull the paper off and stick it somewhere and it will stay. It is not necessary. You can simply put a little bit of double-sided adhesive, and then you have some way to stick yours down. You simply put the glue strip in the center. If it goes past, you can simply snip it off. Make sure you throw this away so pets or children are not trying to digest these little pieces of glue. And now I have my binding. It's ready for me to go into the machine. I take my stack however I want it. I could put that cardstock in the front. I could do a cardstock in the front, but you want to make sure that everything fits inside and that it is not bigger than your glue strip. It's okay for the glue strip to be slightly smaller. It is not okay for this to be bigger than your glue strip because then you're going to have pages that aren't going to glue. The next thing you want to do before you attach that is every page needs to be totally flush, like as flush as you can get it. I'm using a regular rotary cutting paper cutter, so my edges are not smooth. If you have like a stack cutter, your edges are much smoother. but I'm not going for perfection here. These are simply my notebooks. Once it's totally smooth and you're sure, then you need to clip the entire book on the top away from the glue. This machine comes with one clip. Unfortunately, you need 3 clips for good results. I'm then going to take my binding and I'm going to snugly, like really snug, put it on. I'm going to clip it and close your clip. Do the other side, push it really snug, make sure there's no gaps. Everything's nice and secure, and then I'm going to clip it. And close the clips. Very important to close these. You do not need to close these. Once that is done, take parchment paper. I highly recommend doing this. I cut this piece for another project, so it's a little shorter than I want it to be. This is in case you get glue seeping out. You don't want it to get inside your machine. Once you come to this step and you've already turned your machine on and it beeps telling you it's ready, you simply press it in there. Push the timer. 2 minutes later, you take it out, bang it on the table again. I'm going to make sure that glue sticks really well. And then you just stick it in the back to cool off, and that is it. Within 2 or 3 minutes, depending on how cold your craft room is, this is ready to go. And then you just unclip it and you're good to go. We didn't actually glue this, so it's not good to go. But that is how you make a book with the thermal and how you make a book with the regular cinch. They make great companions for doing out of the ordinary things. But if you're simply wanting to just make notebooks, tablets, planners, anything like that, you need to decide how you want your notebook to be finished, the finished look and the finished project. I will say that I don't think you're going to get a really good planner out of this, because you're going to want these little, you're going to want folders and pockets. You're going to want tabbed pages. You keep adding these things, they make the book thicker and thicker, and I'm not sure I would like a thick book with the binding. You can have a much thicker binding by simply making a wider border and using 2 or 3 glue sticks side by side. So you're not limited to this 1/4 inch. They just made the glue sticks 1/4 inch just to get you going so that you can do this size or bigger simply by adding more. I've tried cutting these glue strips down and I can't cut straight, but it does work. I'm in the process of trying smaller notebooks. Like this is 44 page and I wanted a 20 page one. So I'm in the process of trying to cut them in half and making a smaller book. I've also bought glue strips that are half this, that are smaller than this. This is, I forgot how wide this is. It's 1 millimeter thick and 1/4 inch wide, I believe it is. So I have some that are an 1/8 inch wide to give it a try. So there is your 2 comparisons. I didn't compare really how great the machines are. I like them both. This one, well worth the money. This one, probably only if it's on sale. This one, I'd buy again at full price. And I really put this off for a long time because I had a comb binder. So I didn't really need a binder. But this one, because you can pull the plug and not punch certain holes. Like I could do 3 holes up here and 3 holes down here and leave this not punched for a very nice effect. You can't do that on my comb binder because I can't stop it from doing the holes. This one, you simply pull it out and it doesn't punch. You push it in and it punches. So there you have it. Let me know what you think on both machines. Make sure you subscribe because I will be showing more videos on both machines. Make sure you like the video, and that means I'll be making more. Happy crafting and enjoy your day.